Hello, beautiful beings. Welcome to Soul Shift Messages. If you found your way here, trust there's something in this message for you. Understand this space is about growth, truth, and transformation. We don't bypass here, we don't sugarcoat, and not every message will feel comfortable, but it will be honest. I speak in flow, and sometimes that includes cussing. It's just part of how the messages come through. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and trust your own discernment above all else. Take a deep breath, and let's begin. If you are new here, please know at this time I create weekly content in 3 parts. Part 1 focuses on what needs to be revealed. Part 2 focuses on what needs to be understood. And Part 3 focuses on what needs to be done. What changes do we need to make in order to embody what we happen to be discussing that week? Based on when you find this video, for this one, I'm not going to lie, it's Part 3. So you're going to see all available links to Parts 1 and Part 2 in the description box below. And yeah, check out the other parts if you haven't seen them or if you're interested. All right, so like I said, Part 3, and this week's topic is self-worth. And I'm calling this message, Live Like Your Worth is Already Settled. Let's go ahead and dive right in. You have already begun to understand that your worth is not something you earn. The next step is learning how to live as though that is actually true. For a long time, your life has been organized around proving your value. You have tried to become good enough, successful enough, wise enough, productive enough, disciplined enough, or helpful enough to finally feel secure. Even after recognizing that this system cannot provide lasting peace, it is easy to continue living according to its rules because they have become familiar. The invitation now is not simply to believe something different. It is to begin organizing your entire life from a different foundation. Your worth is no longer the goal. It becomes the starting point. Everything else begins to change because of that single shift. Stop feeding the system that keeps you trapped. The old system survives because it constantly convinces you there is still one more thing you must do before you can fully relax into yourself. It tells you improve a little more, understand a little more, achieve a little more, heal a little more, become a little wiser, become a little stronger, become a little more disciplined. Every accomplishment simply becomes another requirement. The finish line continues moving because the system was never designed to end. You may still find yourself negotiating with these beliefs. What if I'm not ready? What if I become lazy? What if I stop growing? What if I lose everything I've built? These questions are not invitations to return to the old system. They are evidence that the old system still wants to remain in charge. Eventually, there comes a point where you stop negotiating. Not because every doubt has disappeared, because you have decided which understanding deserves your trust. The old system no longer receives authority simply because it is familiar. What needs to be done? Notice when you begin trying to prove yourself again. Stop asking old beliefs for permission to change. Recognize that every attempt to earn your worth strengthens the system you are leaving behind. Practice ending the conversation instead of endlessly debating your value. Babies, they're saying it starts with you recognizing the old system is trying to pull you back in and simply not obeying that. And they're saying you don't have to obey. Some of you need to understand that when these things come up, it's like remnants. It's remnants of an old thing. Like some of you need to understand. I don't know why this may resonate with someone, but I'm hearing like death call or a death cry. You know, when someone's like at the end and there's that one like burst of emotion or reaction before they transition, before it ends. And they're saying that's really what it is. It's just remnants of a dying system. And that's what some of you need to recognize. Like if you continue to feed it and fall into it, it won't, it won't let go. It won't phase out. But for some of you, if you recognize that's what's going on and you just choose not to feed it, you'll find it does not do that as much. Okay? So that may be helpful to someone. Stop organizing life around protection. For a long time, avoiding pain has quietly become more important than creating a meaningful life. You have organized yourself around preventing rejection, failure, embarrassment, criticism, uncertainty, vulnerability, disappointment, and loss. Protection once helped you survive, but survival is not the same as living. And I'm getting that some of you I'm hearing some of you understood that intellectually at one point, but I'm hearing that some of you are really starting to accept that. And they're saying that is the next natural progression for you to make. Knowing is one thing, accepting is another, and then adjusting accordingly is going to be the step after that. I'm hearing some of you are really sick of survival. I heard some of you rebuked survival mode, and good for you, babies. Stand in your power. Use your shit, okay? I just keep hearing this is not my life. That's funny. I've said that too. This is not my life. This isn't what I came here for. I know this is not what I deserve. I know this is not as good as it's gonna get. Show me how good it gets. Yes. And if you haven't hit that point, I'm hearing some of you just need to get fed up. I don't know why. I keep hearing like some of you been putting up with the most and getting the least in return. And I'm not gonna lie, it feels like your guides and your ancestors are kind of just sitting back, waiting to see like how much more of this shit you gonna tolerate? You know? It's like they're gonna follow your lead when you decide, like, enough is enough. I just heard charge, like they're coming in like the cavalry, but they're waiting on you. Again, we've talked about in past videos about how they need you to meet them halfway. Anyway, I'm going to leave that there. Lost my damn spot. Give me a second. Found it. Eventually, protection becomes its own prison. You begin making choices based on what feels safest rather than what feels most true. You become careful instead of alive. The invitation is to shift your attention. Instead of asking, how do I avoid getting hurt? Begin asking, how do I participate more fully in life? And they're saying, if you've heard this message from me before, they're saying it's going to be like the shadow work, like the integration work, balancing the polarities. They're just saying, you're going to be sick of hearing me say that. And they said they don't care. I'm going to say it as many times as it needs to be said because someone needs to hear it. Someone needs to keep hearing it. It is the theme that is also not going to go away. This means allowing curiosity, connection, love, creativity, purpose, joy, and authenticity to become stronger guides than fear. Protection no longer becomes your highest priority. Living does. What needs to be done? Ask whether your choices are driven by fear or by what genuinely matters. Allow yourself to participate before you feel perfectly protected. Choose expansion over constant self-preservation. I'm hearing opportunity dances with those already on the dance floor. Is that Bruce Springsteen? I don't know. I'm not sure. Don't come for me. I'm not a huge Springsteen fan. All right? Actually, I'm going to piss somebody off with this, but this is my channel. I'm going to say it. I love his Christmas music the most. I do. Come at me. I don't care. I do. I love that. It's also my favorite holiday, so don't be bitching about Christmas to me. I will block you. All right? Stop treating yourself like a problem to solve. Much of your life has become organized around fixing yourself. You naturally notice what is missing, what still needs improvement, what remains unresolved, what still feels imperfect. Growth itself is not the problem. The problem is believing your existence requires constant correction. Eventually, your entire attention becomes focused on self-improvement. Life becomes a project, and you become the project. Instead of experiencing life, you evaluate yourself while living it. This creates exhaustion. And babies, they want me to be very clear with this. They're like, if you are constantly evaluating yourself, how do you leave room for the things that make life worth living? Right? If it's always work, it's always improvement, it's always evaluating, where is the room for love? Where is the room for joy? Where is the room for laughter? Where is the room for spontaneity? Where is the room for play? Babies, this world, sometimes it does genuinely sicken me when you get people who are like, here's how to completely maximize your time. Here, schedule this, block time for this, block time for that. Babies, how are you able to be creative and really bloom if every minute of your day is dedicated to something? Also, let's be real honest here. Where the fuck do you rest in that type of shit? Seriously, because you need to rest. Be mindful. Some of you are going to start catching this shit in real time. Some of you are just going to start hearing some of these things. Self-improvement, da da da, this and that. And some of you are just going to be like, I just have keep that shit as far away from me as possible. I'm not looking to maximize every minute of every day. Like some of you, I'm just hearing you just want to do less. And I'm hearing there's nothing wrong with that, right? Let's be very honest for a moment. Handle your responsibilities, right? If you made commitments to things, see that through, right? Honor what you have. But moving forward, try to be really mindful of what you're committing to and where you're actually putting your time, because some of you are so focused on just getting through the day that it feels like the days just pass. You get to the end of the week and you're just like, damn. Gives this energy of like, damn, what was the point of all of that? Like all I did was keep the plates spinning. And that's it. Like, I don't know. I have this feeling of like disgust right now. It's like all I did was just manage the shit. I'm tired. There's still plenty of other shit that needs to be done. And I'm actually hearing somebody ask themselves, like, what am I actually doing all of this for? And they're saying that's not a wrong place to be at. That is your invitation to really look at what you have on your plate. Because babies, there's always going to be something to do, but it's very important that you have things that pour back into you, that fuel you. And it just feels like some of you may have went through a season where you really lost sight of that. And it feels like your experience is forcing you to kind of re-examine that. And again, they're saying that's a gift. Use that how you want to. Okay? The invitation is not to stop growing. It is to stop relating to yourself as something fundamentally broken. Growth becomes stewardship rather than repair. Learning becomes exploration rather than self-correction. You no longer improve because you are trying to become worthy. You improve because caring for yourself is one expression of recognizing your worth. What needs to be done? Catch yourself when your attention automatically moves toward what is wrong. Expand your awareness to include what is meaningful, beautiful, joyful, and already healthy. Let growth become an act of care rather than self-repair. Babies, I'm just hearing if you are looking for things that are wrong, that is all you're going to find. Some of you need to swing the other way and look at what are things that are going right. They're saying that will open up more space for more meaningful things. And they're saying even if you find that's a short list, again, it's an invitation to go back and look at, expand your awareness to include what is meaningful, beautiful, joyful, and already healthy. See if you can find a way to invite more of those things into your experience. And you can do it slowly. You don't have to commit to everything, but if you feel like you don't have something in your experience that makes you feel that way, add one thing. I don't even care if it's as simple as going to, I don't know why it's coming to mind, but going to a local bakery and just buying your favorite pastry. Some of you need to genuinely treat yourself. And here's the thing too, I don't know why this is coming up. Don't put a time limit on that. What do I mean? Like, fill your senses with that experience, right? Really look at what you're gonna eat. Admire the craftsmanship. Smell it. I don't care. It's whatever you bought. Smell it. Really, like when you take that first bite, savor it. Let that feeling fill you up. Enjoy the simple moment of you're alive and you have this moment of peace eating something that you really love. Some of you just need to go back to the basics, babies. And they're just saying, whatever you pick, just make it count. I don't know why this is coming through, but someone needs this. If you like candles, they're just like, go to a local place. Most candles are not super expensive. Granted, I'm sure you can find some bougie ones if you're into that. But they're like, if you like candles, go get a candle. Take your time in the aisle. See what catches your eye. Sniff them slowly. Think about the way they make you feel. That kind of stuff. Babies, get back into your body. Get back into this experience. All right? Let your senses drive you. Okay? I don't know why they want me to talk about it, but today I drove 40 minutes one way and 40 minutes back just to get a sandwich. Why? I wanted that sandwich so fucking bad. And I could only get it at that one place. And I was like, you know what? I don't even care. I'm going to go get that sandwich and I'm going to bring it home and I'm going to enjoy it. And you know what? I loved every flipping bite of that sandwich. It is hands down the best decision I made today. Did it make sense? Was it practical? No, but I did it anyway. I just really wanted that sandwich. I don't know why, but I trusted that. I went, and you know what? I'm pretty damn happy right now. Right? Although I have to admit, it's not hard for me to be happy after I just ate. But again, that's another example. Follow what is calling you. Some of you need to make time to follow those nudges. Release your dependence on achievement. Achievement has quietly become responsible for far too many emotional needs. You have expected success to provide security, confidence, peace, identity, stability, belonging, permission to rest, proof that you matter. Achievement can provide satisfaction. It cannot provide permanent emotional safety. The more responsibility you place upon achievement, the more pressure every accomplishment carries. Eventually, success creates only temporary relief before another goal appears. Achievement becomes emotionally addictive because it temporarily quiets your self-doubt. The invitation is not to become less ambitious. It is to remove the impossible burden you have placed upon achievement. All right? Achievement becomes an expression of your gifts instead of evidence submitted to prove your worth. What needs to be done? Notice when you expect success to change how valuable you feel. Separate accomplishment from identity. Let achievement become contribution rather than validation. Babies, despite your achievements and your accomplishments, you are still always worthy. Whether things turn out the way you want them to or not, you are still worthy. That's why you need to separate these things. They're not who you are. Your self-worth persists any external circumstances. I talked about that in depth in part 2, okay? If that resonates with you and you didn't watch part 2, look for the link below, okay? Let go of obsession and constant mental movement. Your mind has become accustomed to constant movement, thinking, analyzing, planning, learning, searching, preparing, improving, understanding. The movement itself has become comforting. It creates the feeling that you are making progress, but endless searching can become another way of postponing peace. Eventually, you understand enough. The next stage requires embodiment. The question changes from what else do I need to understand to what do I already know that I am not living yet? And some of you really need to sit with that question and have that honest reflection with yourself. They want me to say it again. What do I already know that I am not living yet? Because they're saying some of you know you need to make changes, you're not sure where. That is where you start. Insight opens the door. Repeated action creates transformation. And they're saying there is no other way. Insight is helpful. Without action, it goes nowhere. It does nothing. What needs to be done? Notice when thinking becomes a substitute for living. Practice acting on what you already know. Spend less energy searching for certainty and more energy living your values. Get out of your head into your body and in this experience. Some of you really need to make that change. You keep trying to think your way through things you need to act through. I don't know why. I'm here in air signs. I'm going to honor that. That's Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. You could be those signs. You could have that as your sun sign. You could have more air placements. I don't know why, but I just heard check yourself before you wreck yourself. So if you are an air sign or you have strong air placements and you know you've been in your head too much, that is specifically for you. Check yourself with that before you wreck yourself. You need to move from your mind more into your body. That food example, well, I gave two, but those food examples could be good, easy starts for you to practice actually being in your body and participating in your experience. If you are focusing on the thing you are eating and you are enjoying that, it is keeping you present, which is keeping you out of your mind. That's going to be significant for someone, and they're saying you're going to know if that's for you or not. Allow yourself to be imperfect and visible. You may have been waiting until you felt completely ready before allowing yourself to fully participate. Completely healed, completely confident, completely wise, completely disciplined, completely certain. That day never arrives. Life does not ask for perfection before participation. It asks for honesty. Real connection grows when people meet the person who is still learning, still changing, still uncertain, still growing. Authenticity is not polished. It is truthful. What needs to be done? Stop waiting to become the perfect version of yourself. Allow people to know the real person behind the performance. Practice showing up before you feel finished. Babies, I've said this before in past videos and I'll say it again. I show up 3 times a week, imperfect, each and every time, without question, doubt, or frankly even hesitation on my part. Why? Because we need more authenticity in this life and in this experience. I am not perfect. I will never be perfect. I am always learning and growing, and I just show up here 3 times a week and do the best that I can and honor what comes through. And do I nail it every time? No, I don't think there is a single video that I felt like every single time, every moment that I have nailed it, and I still show up. If I waited until I felt perfect and perfectly ready, none of this would exist. None of it would exist. All right? I would have never made this channel. And it's just part of how it goes. And one of the things that my team told me and is actually very strict on is I'm just supposed to show up and be real, be who I am. That's why I show up, and sometimes my hair is crazy. Sometimes my hair is not done well. I usually don't wear makeup. I cuss. How much depends on what comes through me. And I flub my words more often than not. You already saw I lost my place in this video. And you know what? I never edit these videos. I record this shit in one take and I post it. Why? Because perfection is not what I'm about here. Okay? And I share stories that are sometimes great, some are fun, some are funny, and some of them are moments that are really hard for me. Sometimes I'm very vulnerable on this channel. And again, because I cannot, in good conscience, show up here, share these messages without embodying them myself and leading by example. All right. And I say all of that to say, if I can work through my shit to show up here 3 times a week imperfectly, you are more than capable of doing it yourself. Give yourself permission to do it. All right. And hold room, hold grace for those you know are trying to make this shift. It is not easy, especially if you have perfectionism that you know you fight on the daily. Okay? Let's get back at it. All right, I don't remember. Just to prove my point, I don't know. No, I did finish that. Practice, yeah. Allow people to know the real. Let me just take it from the top with that. What needs to be done? Stop waiting to become the perfect version of yourself. Allow people to know the real person behind the performance. Practice showing up before you feel finished. All right, let's keep it trucking. Allow your old identity to end. There is an identity that worked very hard to keep you safe. It became productive, responsible, helpful, reliable, competent, strong, prepared, self-sufficient, controlling. It deserves gratitude. It helped you survive, but it was never meant to become permanent. Releasing it may feel like losing yourself. In reality, you are releasing the version of yourself that believed survival was the same as identity. There is grief in that process. Not because it was wrong, because it has been with you for a very long time. Transformation often feels like loss before it feels like freedom. And I can attest to that. What needs to be done? Thank the parts of yourself that protected you. Allow yourself to grieve the identity you are leaving behind. Stop asking that identity to continue leading your life. Babies, let what is complete remain complete. Let the endings occur that need to occur. Be thankful, be grateful for what you gained out of the experience. Process the emotions related to it and let it go. You don't have to carry it forward. Your guidance is to not carry it forward. I'm hearing if you've made it this far into this message, you are ready to let it go. And they're saying the fear may be loud, but the fear is never going to be stronger than your truth. You know your truth. You can set your intention to let the old identity end. And you are more than welcome to do so if that's something you're interested in and you do feel ready for it. Change your relationship with your inner critic. Your inner critic is trying to protect you. It genuinely is. It believes pressure prevents failure. It believes criticism prevents rejection. It believes perfection prevents pain. Its intention is protection. Its methods have become harmful. The goal is not to silence it forever. That's just not possible. It is to remove its authority. It becomes one voice, not the ruler of your identity. That's why we need to reseat it and put it on a council. That way it's not the only voice. It doesn't get the only say. You decide whether its advice is useful. And some of you will, in all seriousness, need to tell it to go kick rocks when it does rear up. Why? Because you do have that authority. It can show up and you don't have to obey it. Kick rocks, no shoes on. All right? It no longer decides your value. What needs to be done? Listen without automatically obeying. Separate useful feedback from unnecessary self-attack. Stop allowing your inner critic to define who you are. Sometimes your inner critic is a straight up hater. It is not who you are. It does not get to define you. And you do not have to obey it. Don't give your power away to your inner critic. I am hearing some of you know the shit your inner critic tries to feed you doesn't even come from you. Some of you know that's programming from other people. Kick that shit out. Ignore that. I don't know who needs to hear this, but you are stronger than your inner critic. No one knows you better than you, not your inner critic. Build trust through action. Confidence does not arrive before action. Confidence grows because of action. Trust develops through repeated evidence. Every time you honor a boundary, tell the truth, receive help, allow yourself to rest, say no, accept uncertainty, Express yourself honestly. Stop people pleasing or choose yourself without guilt. You quietly teach yourself, I can trust myself. Self-trust grows through consistency, not promises. What needs to be done? Keep small promises to yourself. Do not abandon yourself for everyone else. Let them handle their own shit. Act according to your values before you feel fully confident. Build trust through repeated, honest behavior. Do it again and again and again. It will eventually become a habit. It will come to you as second nature. I don't know who this is for, but I'm hearing clear as day. You need to practice your no. You need to move toward perfecting your no. Some of you say yes to too much and you know it. Some of you need to really start practicing your no. I'm hearing you are the go-to. Yeah, I'll volunteer for that. And it's just draining you. So they're like, get off the box. Let other people step up. Or some of you just need to accept that you just need to leave that gap. Leave that gap. I don't know who that's for, but that's significant. And it's funny because they're saying you're going to feel like it's the ultimate act of rebellion. And I'm just getting the feeling they're like, no, you're just honoring your truth. You know, there's rebellion for rebellion's sake, and there's honoring your boundaries, honoring your limits and stuff like that. You know, it's funny. There's a joke that says people pleasers, or sometimes they call them empaths. Um, you know, we'll be like, I'm in my villain era, and all they're doing is just putting boundaries in place. And I'm laughing because I used to be that person. I really struggled with boundaries. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, like no is my default position, you know? Um, just because I used to people please so much. I remain open-minded. I always, I take things in fully before I respond, but I'm not gonna lie, it's like build your business case as to why I should do this, you know? It's that type of thing. I really had to learn the hard way and go through a level of burnout that I personally didn't realize was even possible, but that's what actually helped me perfect my no, really get clear on my boundaries. What am I going to tolerate? What am I not going to tolerate? What do I need to do to make sure I'm taking care of me? How do I make sure I intentionally leave time in my day for that? Things of that sort. And again, I stay flexible within it because there are certain things that come up where it really does matter, and it matters for the greater and higher good. And in those moments, for that time, I will put things aside because, again, sometimes I have to go by values, not my personal preference. Right? And some of you will get to a point where you recognize that, right? Does this serve the greatest and highest good? Would I love to do it right now? No. Am I getting the guidance to do it right now? Yes. Okay, I will honor that. But this is why you cannot wait for perfection. Life is full of nuance. And the only way you really get good at this stuff is if you just start playing with it. Because you know what? Even if you goof on something, okay, learn from it and move forward. All right? I don't know who needed that little spiel, but somebody did. Practice peace instead of waiting for it. There is a hidden belief that peace comes after healing, after success, after enough growth, after enough discipline, after enough certainty. This message reverses that belief. Peace is not the reward. Peace becomes part of the practice. You rest before everything is finished. You enjoy life before every problem is solved. You accept yourself before your inner critic agrees. You stop postponing your life. What needs to be done? Practice rest without earning it. Practice joy without justifying it. Stop delaying peace until future conditions are met. If you are waiting for perfect conditions to fall into peace, peace will continue to evade you. Look for ways to incorporate peace into your day-to-day life. I don't know why, but I'm hearing the first sip of coffee in the morning. That's significant for someone. If that's you, treat it as sacred. Take that in. Enjoy that moment. Okay? Learn to live with uncertainty. You have been searching for complete certainty, complete safety, complete confidence, complete clarity. Life cannot provide these things permanently. It's just not how it works, babies. It's just not how it works. The search itself creates suffering. Why? Because it never fully comes. Freedom is not eliminating uncertainty. Freedom is no longer needing certainty before living. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is choosing your values even while fear exists. What needs to be done? Stop waiting until you feel completely certain. Let uncertainty exist without allowing it to control your choices. Build your life around your values rather than your fears. That's a cheeky way of putting it, but babies, they're just saying your next breath is not guaranteed, and yet you still keep trying to breathe. Like, you already live with uncertainty. You trust the next breath of air to come. You trust the next heartbeat to keep the blood flowing in your body. Like, you live with uncertainty every day. I will give you a personal example. I only knew 3 grandparents in this life. My paternal grandfather passed away when my father was 6. Ironically, I have had conversations with him because I got that mediumship, and he's very nice. He's very sweet. But I've only had 3 grandparents in this life, and all 3 of them passed away in their sleep, which I'm very grateful for because it is, for the most part, a very peaceful way to transition. All right? But you don't need to tell me that every day is a gift, because I have had 3 people who I have loved dearly in this lifetime, and I'm very grateful I can still connect with them now, who just never woke up, right? And that's another example. You go to sleep and you expect to wake up the next day and have another day. Like, you already live with so much uncertainty, you just don't look at it that way. You just don't, right? Car accidents, like, if you look at the statistics and you only made your life choices based on statistics, we wouldn't be driving cars. We wouldn't be. Shit's dangerous. We know this. You still drive your car, and most of us are not driving around like constantly scanning for accidents. You still, right? There is uncertainty with that too. You live with so much uncertainty. You need to give yourself permission to really recognize the breadth and depth. All right? You already function in a level of uncertainty. They're just asking you to broaden your perspective on it. Okay? Okay. Move from self-management to self-relationship. You have spent years managing yourself, managing emotions, productivity, your image, your thoughts, your reactions. Management creates control. Relationship creates understanding. You are invited to become someone who listens to yourself instead of constantly correcting yourself. Curiosity replaces judgment. Compassion replaces control. Understanding replaces suppression. The relationship you build with yourself becomes the foundation for every other relationship in your life. I said it in the second video. Become your own best friend. Treat yourself as someone you love dearly, dearly, with every ounce of your being and then some. What needs to be done? Listen before trying to fix yourself. Respond to your emotions instead of immediately controlling them. Treat yourself as someone to know rather than someone to manage. Let your life become simpler. The old system required endless calculations. Am I enough? Have I done enough? Do they approve? Am I behind? What else should I improve? The healthier life asks fewer questions. Is this true? Is this kind? Is this honest? Does this align with my values? Does this bring me closer to the life I want to live? The more deeply you trust your inherent worth, the less complicated your decisions become. What needs to be done? Stop measuring yourself against impossible standards. Replace constant evaluation with simple, values-based decisions. Let clarity replace endless mental calculation. Babies, it's just, this message is screaming at me. And I've been trying to ground that energy down, but it's time to live. It's just time to live. Like, there is a part of me that just wants to scream it, and I'm not gonna, because I don't want to startle anyone, but it's just like, I'm just hearing live, damn it, live. And babies, I'm going to tell you right now, that comes from the ancestors. I feel that very strongly. Why? Because, all right, I'm gonna get on my high horse for a second. Bear with me. Or turn it off. I don't care. Babies, our ancestors had to survive through some heinous shit. All right? Like, here's what they really want me to tell you. A lot of them didn't really have this opportunity to move out of survival mode and into genuinely living and authentically living. And there is this pleading, almost begging energy coming from them, because we do in this lifetime have this opportunity. And some of you may not realize it, but our ancestors on the other side live through us vicariously. And what do I mean? Like, when we have experiences that we love and they fill us up with joy, and we just let those good feelings come through and just ripple the fuck out, they feel that shit. They celebrate that. It brings them joy, right? Because someone in the line fucking did it. And there's just this heaviness they're putting on my heart, watching us have the opportunity to get out of the fuck shit they never could in their lifetime. And they're saying, we had moments of joy. It wasn't all crap. But they're like, at the end of the day, we never fully got out of that. But for some of us, we do. And this doesn't mean we don't ever encounter challenges or things of that sort, but we don't have to be dominated by these fears that they had to carry. And that's why they're like just trying to push this message so hard, because they're just like, they just want you to live. It's like, there is shit you're carrying that you can put down, and it's just like, it feels like it pains them to watch you to just keep trying to carry all this shit. They're just like, put it down. Like, oh my gosh, you can actually put it down. And the fact that you're not, like, that's part of the reason why, if you've been paying attention to these past couple of weeks, the ancestors have been really active and really coming through me, because like, they just so badly want to support you with this shift. But again, they need you to take some action. And to do that, they're like, your fear is so loud, but if you just started taking some action, you could move through it, right? I have a fear of being seen that I actually don't really fear anymore. I just show up and I do. Why? Because I have practiced the shit out of showing up. Why? 3 times a week for how many flipping weeks? I don't even know. But again, like, I moved through that fear. I don't really think about this anymore. And so that's really something that I've really kind of pushed to the back. It doesn't dictate shit anymore, you know? And they're saying it's the same thing. But yeah, they're just like, live, babies, live, damn it. do what we couldn't do. We are here for you. We want to support you. All right, let me jump back into this. Woo! Actually, I feel better now that I got that out. All right. Live as someone who already knows their worth. This is the deepest transformation. You are no longer trying to become someone worthy of love. You are learning how someone who already possesses inherent worth naturally lives. Everything changes. You set boundaries because self-respect includes boundaries. You rest because your body deserves care. You pursue meaningful work because it expresses your gifts. You apologize because integrity matters. You receive love because it no longer needs to be earned. You contribute because generosity reflects your values. You continue growing because growth is one way of honoring your life. Babies, the ancestors want me to add, and if you are grieving someone, my condolences, baby. Do not put a time limit on grief. Honor your process. The ancestors want me to tell you the way you honor your ancestors, your passed on loved ones, is to live your life as fully, authentically, truthfully, and joyfully as possible. That's all they want for you. They want to see you thrive. They want to see you flourish. They want to watch you bloom. They're saying it's one of their greatest joys. Ooh, I could cry. They're filling me with like the most loving energy ever. All right. Nothing disappears. Ambition, discipline, responsibility, healing, and learning all remains. The difference is that none of them are responsible for deciding whether you deserve to exist. They become expressions of a worth that has already been recognized. What needs to be done? Before making important decisions, ask, what would I choose if I already knew my worth was not in question? Am I trying to prove my value or express my values? Let your daily choices become evidence of a new relationship with yourself. Build a life that reflects the truth you have come to recognize. Your worth is not the destination. It is the foundation from which everything else grows. That's all I've got, babies. And they just told me to end it there, so I'm going to honor that. So that is going to bring this week's series on self-worth to a close. I will be back on Sunday to kick off. Oh, I just blinked. You know what? I'll be back on Sunday. So feel free to tune in to see what that theme is going to be. All right. Take care of yourselves, beautiful beings. Love on you. I genuinely mean that. Love on you. Pour into you. You are always something worth investing in. All right? Take time for yourself. Make time for yourself. Until next time. Bye.